All right, so hi everybody, it's Nathan, Farm Fresh Marketers, and this week our subject or our lesson that we're going over is dream customers, and this is, I believe, one of the most important things that you can do to set your business or your farm or ranch up to successfully grow online. And it was one of the biggest mistakes that we made with our grass-fed beef business, in that I didn't understand the value of creating this ideal customer, dream customer, customer avatar, whatever you want to call it. I didn't take the time to really understand why it was so important. So that's one of the reasons why, or that is the reason why I made this our second lesson after getting your mindset right and understanding that you are a marketer and that you can grow and you can become an amazing marketer and sell your products online. The next thing is, who are you going to sell those products to, or who are you going to be working with long term? And with that, who are you going to repel? So there's a lot that goes into that, and why I wanted to show you kind of my background here. This is me and my wife Julie and our oldest daughter Olivia and youngest daughter Millie. Is that I used kind of this family concept of, like, this is an image of our family on our farm, and it's kind of, it's not, I think it's kind of something that most farmers and ranchers will do to help promote their products. It's like, here's our family, and here's our family working on the farm and ranch and doing specific things on the farm and ranch to help it grow. And I think that is just kind of how we think we should be sharing things, and what we think that our customers want to hear. So when you go into kind of really deep dive into who your dream customer is, it may be someone who wants to learn about farming. It may be someone who, as a kid, they spent every summer on their family cattle ranch or on their family farm, and they missed that feeling of being on their farm. Like, just hearing your stories or seeing your pictures gives them goosebumps, and they just want to be there with you doing the things. But that may not be who you are trying to sell to, or trying to create a relationship with, or find, like, or you know, having a joint venture with, or anything like that. So you have to, and this worked. I won't. Don't get me wrong. This image on my background here, it worked great for us. Like, we definitely got a lot of customers. We attracted a lot of people, through these family images. But we didn't take it far enough. We knew kind of what we wanted to share and who we thought we had an idea. So I knew it was going to be somebody with high income. I knew it was going to be somebody with teenage kids. Teenage kids eat lots of beef, and I knew that they were going to be people that were into fitness, because shoot, we were into fitness. It's like, how can I relate to that person? And getting into that frame of mind really definitely gave us a bit of advantage and gave me plenty of things to talk about. But we didn't really capture their attention and giving them things of value through what we shared. And when you really drill down on who your dream customer is, you can kind of step into their world, and you start to understand, like, what exactly is it that's keeping them up in the middle of the night. And if you know that will open up all the doors for you, because you're giving them the answer to whatever it is. Even if you know them well enough, that their teenage kid is getting ready to start thinking about college, and they can't sleep because they don't know how to help their kid think about what college to choose or what advice that they should give their kids. But then the next day in their email, here's an email from you talking about the top 10 ways to help your kid pick a college. Like, that has nothing to do with farming and ranching, but they'll see that, and that's adding so much value to their world. It's something that it's just like, wow, I wouldn't have expected that. And it's like they know me so well. And that's the power of being able to identify exactly who your dream customer or avatar is. And I wanted to show you really quick. I think this should come with my screen. Yeah. So I use Canva.com for a lot of our like logos, social media posts, adding text to different things. But I just this morning just searched through some infographics, and this one could be if your ideal customer loves to support causes and there's a natural disaster. This is an infographic that is a free template through Canva that talks about the best things to donate after a natural disaster. If your email is targeted towards someone who is trying to help others, this is a great thing to include in your email. And you could break this up into, different social media posts and other things. And you kind of just start to understand, like, here's the different things, the 5 different things or 10 different things that they really, really care about, keep them up at night. Because some people, if there is a natural disaster, like the, wildfires or anything else, that is keeping them up at night. Is how am I going to help these folks? And what we find in our email inboxes, you just like, if you subscribe to, any newsletters, the majority of them are only sales pitches. After sales pitch, after sale, like offer. There's not a lot of emails that are out there that are either providing value to you or telling a story that you care about. So back to this picture, it's a great way that if that was our dream customer of someone who spent their childhood on a farm, then I could talk about this. I could talk about raising my kids on the farm. I could talk about how my youngest daughter, Millie, went and gathered the eggs at 4 years old and took an egg that had crap all over it and stuck it in her mouth and like didn't get sick. And it's like, isn't that so weird? But there's so many different things that I think once you define that person, they're going to start looking forward to your emails. And a lot of folks I've talked to in farming and ranching, have asked how often are you sending emails? And they don't want to be more than once a month because they feel like that's a burden. But when you're actually sharing value to your dream customer, so you're going to sit down and you're going to write that. And the same thing with social media posts and all that and videos. You're going to sit down and you're going to write that specific person. And you're going to tell them like you're talking to them. And you can actually even do that throughout your email, mentioning their first name and different things and asking them questions about, time on a farm and other things. But once you're like tuned in with that dream customer in that way, they are going to look forward to it and they're going to want that email every single day if you can send it. But if you're sending something that's like, hey, we're trying to clear out the freezers this week, all like hitting them week by week with different things of here's another sale, you're not separating yourself, you're not being different, and it will get passed over. I think that's why at the beginning of your process or in the beginning of your growth, say if you've been doing it 10 or 20 years, right now you're looking to grow your farm, and the best way that you can do that is identify exactly who you want to grow it with. And that should also align with your goals and your mission for your farm and ranch. So back here on the infographics, this is a good one for someone who's charitable. This one, if someone's budget conscious, here's the Broke Girl's Guide to Self-Care. And it's just quick infographic on different things that they can do for self-care. If someone cares about agriculture and the environment, here's one, Global State of Agriculture. This one, Leading a Healthy Lifestyle. So exercise regular, drink lots of water, eat healthy food. The best health apps out there. 8 different apps that they could install to help with their health. Healthy skin. Here's your guide to clear and healthy skin. So there's so many of these things that you can find. That was one example through Canva. You can go to Pinterest as well, and there's tons of different things there. One thing I would suggest though is that you do kind of fact check some of those things. That if you are sharing them, you don't want to spread lies. Yeah, so that kind of is the first part of this that I wanted to go through with you guys, is why it's so important to drill down on exactly who it is, who is your dream customer. And then I was actually going to put together this framework. Sorry, it's hard to see. I was going to put together that framework, but I just got a call from my dad earlier today about he was just his job ended, so that totally threw off my morning. But what I've put together, and I'll share this in the Google Doc once I've got it done, is I wrote out kind of a framework on how to identify who your dream customer is, and start to write the copy or the text out and kind of get to know them. So there's 3 pillars to this framework. There's demographics, psychographic, and time. So within demographics, all sorts of, about 15 different things there, from age to hobbies to music to education, books, podcasts, all the demographic things. In psychographic, that's more into their core. What are their core beliefs, the values, goals, dreams, like what are their fears, anxieties, stress, mindset, what keeps them up at night? All those things are right there. And then time, how do they spend their time? Are they big into fitness, mental health? Do they have a big commute, downtime, alone time, time with their partner, family time? So as you start to think through kind of all of those different aspects, you can really drill down on who that dream customer is. And once you start to understand those things, and this can be a fluid thing, as you start doing this process, you may understand and realize that, actually they're a little bit more like this, or, you could meet that person and be like, that's not who is my ideal dream customer. So that leads you to kind of trying to determine, okay, so now I've got an image of who this is. How do I connect with them? So there's tons of different ways to connect with them. And a big mistake that we made was, one, we didn't clearly define them, so we didn't really know where to find them. And so I basically shotgun blasted out to a lot of different Facebook groups, anything from classifieds to local community chats. And it worked really, really well. In the process that we did it, we got, some weeks we had over 100 new customers in 1 week. And what we found was they were looking for a good deal, and they were the budget conscious people. Even though I had kind of written out that I wanted someone who had a higher income, that's not who we were attracting, because that's not where we were going. You kind of have to figure out, where are they and how can I start to attract them? Video I shared earlier today that's in our training area talks about how you can use something called magazines.com, and you can search out specific magazines. So if you know your dream customer loves to read Cook's, what's it called? There's one that's called, I believe it's Cook's Actually, I can just do that. Here, I can go to magazines.com and kind of just show you guys as I'm doing it. All right, so search. To move these. I know that's a big national, yeah, Cook's Lifestyle. So, or Cook's Illustrated. So we go there, Cook's Illustrated magazine. So we can go to their website. And in here, they have, so this is a really well-established magazine. Through their website, they're going to be looking for different people that want to advertise with them. So there it says their circulation 2007, it's 1 million copies. So within this magazine, we go down here to the bottom. There should be a media kit. And of course, I don't see it for them. So, oh. We'll go here to magazine, and oh, here we go, down here. Media contact. I should have done this ahead of time. So we'll see if it's there, but within the media kits that organizations have, it will tell you all of the very specific things about that organization. So this is a bad example. I will look up a better example and show you, and you can request it from them, and they will send you, basically it's an infographic of here is who reads our magazine. They are 40, like there's 80% female, 20% male. Their age is 45. They have 3 kids. They like very, very drilled down specific information about them. And that's the same information that Facebook uses for advertising through advertising channels, in that they can basically know more about us than we know, because there's so many different organizations collecting the data out there. It's not Facebook themselves. There's organizations that collect that and then sell that information, or sell that, not the information, but that resource to different organizations, like these companies with their media kits and Facebook for advertising. That's really powerful. If you know that they enjoy this magazine, you can, like, kind of, if you list out 5 or 10 different magazines you can go to those websites, find the media kit, and then look through that and start to read, and you can kind of discover who is it? Like, who is this person? Versus just picking something out of thin air. And also kind of read through that magazine to see, like, how are they talking to my dream customer? And you can kind of create your own voice and use language that's already working for them, or they're already seeing, just in different ways. Also, you can share recipes from these, like this one here, it's got different recipes on it. You can kind of start to do different things to where it's like you're helping them do something that they were already doing. But yeah, that kind of covers the majority of things. Sorry I didn't have that framework up so that we could look at it on the screen together. And yeah, there's a lot that can go into it. And like I said, it's not something that you should just do overnight. I think it's something that you should really research, and that research will pay dividends. One big thing that we learned was way down the road, I did a survey of our customers to find out why they weren't buying, and that was a big thing that we got. We got tons and tons of customers, using these Facebook groups and things to get new customers in, but they weren't becoming repeat buyers, and they weren't referring anyone, and they were just one time. Like, we were spending that upfront cost to acquire a customer, but they weren't a valuable customer to our organization because that was not really the business that we wanted to build. We didn't want just tons and tons of customers, and that works. That does work well for other organizations. One of the best ways that Omaha Steaks is growing right now is through giveaways through a sweepstakes website. So you can go to this website and you can enter into different sweepstakes, and that's one of them, is to win beef from them. So that they're right there in their growth of their business, they are just in that acquire new customers. Let's just get as many customers as we can versus, to support this like small farm, we don't need thousands and thousands of customers. We need 10 or 20 dream customers. And that is what we can continue to build our customer base on, because we can talk very specifically to them. And then they're going to also talk about their friends. And pretty soon, as we keep talking, our story starts to become their story. And they start to share things, about the Campbell's girls or whatever it is that you are, telling them. And, they're forwarding your emails on to their friends, and they're sharing your social media posts. So yeah, that's what I wanted to cover this morning, or today, this afternoon. It's kind of try to keep my talk to about 30 minutes, and then I'll dive into Q&A. And because Justin's with us, I thought I'd ask you first. I know I didn't directly answer your questions that you had emailed to me. I'm sorry, I said Justin, it's Jake. So sorry I didn't directly answer your questions in the email, and I can gladly do that right now. But I wanted to see, from what I said, is there anything that's kind of on your mind, Jake, that you wanted to ask first?
Yeah, so that makes a lot of sense, and I've been playing around with other, looking into other marketers and things like that also. It's kind of a common theme that I've been seeing with dream customers is you really want to get specific with them, and by targeting them more specifically, you're actually going to attract even more of a broad audience still. Like, intuitively, you think that you're going to exclude all these people by targeting just one person, but in actuality, since you're targeting one specific person, you're actually, having a better connection with a lot more people. And that's something that just has stuck with me today, and it just kind of went against everything that I thought. So I don't know if you feel the same way about that, or what your thoughts are there.
Yeah, I mean, I have the perspective of doing it the wrong way, and what we got was a lot of people with high demands and high expectations, high demands, and really ready to complain. So, and I don't know, I think it really is easier once you know exactly who you're talking to and who you're looking to help or work with. It just becomes something that you enjoy doing. And really, if you are looking at the long-term picture with it, you want to find the people that you're going to work with long-term. And that's really what it is. It's a relationship business. And if you can have that relationship with 20 or 30 families, it's much, I think that's kind of how the way things used to be. And we've gotten into the supermarket age where no one has a connection. And it can just kind of be like, why what is it that is, why should I not buy from the neighbor? Like, what separates your product from the neighbor's product? And one of those things can be how well you are talking specifically to that person. Um, and yeah, and I think it definitely shows. One of your questions, Jake, was how do you repel the people that you don't want to target without being, sorry, I can't remember the words you used, but I think it was like, how do you do it without being offensive to them? Um, and that, I think, as you grow, will start to work itself out through your customers that you have supporting your business. So we made the mistake of posting a picture of a skunk that I had killed on our social media page. And, we had baby chicks at the time. Like, our dog had been sprayed 5 times, and I killed the skunk and shared it on social media. And we got absolutely blasted. I had lots of customers in Seattle and Eugene and Portland, and they wanted to rip us apart. But all of our supporters were right there, handling it for us, being like, really, you can't, it's very difficult to relocate a skunk. Where they live, they don't have humane services that they can call. Like, just all these things. You can't give Benadryl to a wild animal. Like, all these things that they're just like right there and got our back. And what you'll find, I think, a lot of times is what you think you'll have to do to support or to not like say the wrong things or piss off people or repel people, is that as you get very much more specific and you have these people who know, like, and trust you, they're going to be right there and have your back for you. And really, in the way that you kind of talk to people, understand who you're searching out, and images that you share, like this image here in my background, that's not going to speak to the fitness junkie, like, but if it's me and my wife sweating, doing weights, or I've just finished a long run, like, that might speak to them. And same thing as you share, different videos and other things, is you'll kind of start to repel them because they don't really like what you're sharing. So that, I don't know if that completely answers your question, Jake, but yeah, that's one way, is that your community will kind of start to support you. And if you are doing things or saying things that hurt their feelers, then you've got a big community behind you to help win that off. The other thing I've found, like, I've had conversations with lots of vegans. I took 3 weeks and actually went vegan, just so that I could have better conversations with them and understand what it's like. About died. But I could not believe the amount of soy that's in a vegan diet. And so that's one of the touch points that I hit on when I'm having conversations with them. And what you'll find a lot of times is you both, like, a lot of times you'll have the same end goal in mind, which is what Alan Savory talks about in holistic management. You can get two completely opposite sides together in a room, and after time, they're really they really want to accomplish the exact same thing. They're just doing it in different ways. So I always encourage folks to open up and be able to kind of start those conversations and not avoid them. But yeah. And does that help with that?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Just, in the fact that as you build your community, it's going to kind of naturally sort itself out, is kind of the gist of what I'm hearing with it all. And between your your community that really supports you, and then also just with how you market, it's just going to kind of naturally fall into place as to what you're pushing for.
Right. Yeah, and you could also look at things like if it's price as one of the things that, is really driving it, you could look at things like, okay, so a lot of folks are talking to me about why my beef is priced this way, and you can actually break it down, or chicken or whatever products that you have from your farm. You can actually break it down and help them understand. And here's everything that goes into it, and like you can look at industry averages, like as a whole, just regular supermarket beef averages $6 a pound, and that's regular. That's not 100% grass fed, the premium stuff or anything like that. That's everything when you look at ground beef and premium steaks and all that as a whole. But yeah, that's definitely something you can do, but I think it really depends on who that is. If that would be something you'd share with the budget if you had a budget conscious avatar or dream customer. But yeah, so your another question you had was how to. Sorry, I'm going off memory, but it was how do you start to attract that dream customer? Was that right?
Yeah. How do you track them, and or just where do you go about finding them initially? I'm kind of starting up from virtually nothing right now, so I really want to lay a solid foundation of the customers that I really want to have. So trying to find where those customers are at when I haven't really done any of this before, I'm trying to figure out just where they're going to be.
Yes. So in I think it's week 9 or week 10, I'm going to go into something that's called a Dream 100. And that's actually what I'm doing right now for Farm Fresh marketers is I have listed out 100 different influencers, people, magazines, organizations, nonprofits. Um, it's a list of 100 different entities, and I'm one by one going to them and starting to build a relationship to understand if we can work together and how we can work together. Same thing with anything in a farm. You can look at what are the 100 different people. It could be a nutritionist in your area. It could be a gym. It could be a dental office. Who knows? Like there's like you kind of identify your dream customer first, and then you build out what is this? Who are these 100 people, and like how can I start to build a relationship with them so that we can work together, and like looking long term with it is definitely the way to go. One challenge with beef itself and a lot of farm products is ButcherBox has basically gotten almost all the influencers out there. The majority of the influencers out there are affiliated with ButcherBox and screaming their um, mission all over the place. So that was something that we found, especially on Instagram, is it was very tough to get influencers to do marketing campaigns with us. And then, if you're able to like work with them or find other ways to do that. So one thing that we did was there's a barbecue company and a silicone cup company that, are completely not related to beef. Found another, like in a cookbook and seasoning company. And so all together we had kind of one product or thing that we could put out there that opened not only our doors to their network, but then also this collaboration it's something that you couldn't get anywhere else. And so that's something that they call a widget. I'll definitely have another week-long lesson about widgets and how you can start to create widgets and think about them. But these organizations, and especially if you go through and list out 100, they're going to have, you know, anything from a small list to a massive list that they can market things to, and they already have built a relationship with them. So that's one thing where once you know who they are, you can figure out where they are and then start to work to be in front of them, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
So yeah,
Cool.
there's a ton that can go into that next phase of all of it, and it's easy to get kind of overwhelmed or wrapped into like getting everything going all at once. But I think if you start planning ahead and start getting those relationships set up when you are ready, then they already know you. Like, it's not like the last thing you want to do is, reach out to them and like, can we do this tomorrow? It's like, no, we were already planning a quarter, a quarter away. Or even with bloggers, a lot of them have already written their blog posts for the next 1 or 2 months. So yeah, kind of working that and finding a relationship that's win-win, I think is the best way to start attracting that, dream customer. And yeah, and don't rule out things as
Yeah.
well. What's that?
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was saying don't rule out things as well. So, um, if your dream customer is someone who's 75 years old and they're not online very much, then it may make sense to do like other marketing things besides Facebook, or email. You might just, send something out to them that is, let's say if it was someone who loved golf, and you could start to look at these different organizations and you could call up the areas and just say, hey, can I post this at your facility for folks to call me? And if you've got something up at a golf course where they can call you and that's who your dream customer is, you're very specific on them. Tee off with a T-bone or something. Like, you can write your copy for that person and tailor it towards different things. Like, they have a tournament coming up in 3 weeks, and you want to celebrate your win with having a big barbecue or something. I don't. You can get really, really creative with how you do that, and then with that, all you would need is just something up at that place, or even at the front desk. They may say, yeah, you can put a fishbowl on our counter and let's say it is a giveaway. Whoever wins this golf tournament coming up in 3 weeks can win 20 20 pounds of burger, or 5 pounds of burger, or something. 5 pounds, nothing crazy. And everyone would then enter that and just put your phone number on or put your email on or whatever you wanted to do. But as you start to look at things kind of from a different lens of how do they consume things? Like, is it someone who sits down and reads a Sunday paper every week, or is it someone who's scrolling Facebook every day? It's like, how you reach out to them and how they are going to dedicate their time to you is going to be different. So some folks will want to have phone conversations, and some folks will want to do everything over Facebook Messenger. So figuring that out, I think, can really help as well. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense, and yeah, just kind of imagining or figuring out once you figure out more about your ideal customer, kind of putting yourself in their shoes and seeing what they do throughout the day and the different places that they are touched, or the different people that are in their lives and things like that. Just kind of walking your way through a typical day for them, and then maybe reaching out to some of those areas where they go to a chiropractor once a week, or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And then that's something that, those different businesses are also looking to grow as well. So thinking about it that way is how can we establish win-win um, things with these or strategic alliances with these different organizations could be huge. And I think the way that I structured Farm Fresh Marketers is to get you that foundation. So the first week, we're looking at mindset. Now we're looking at who's our dream customer. Next, we're going to start to look at what products or bundles of products do we want to start offering to that person. And like a lot of us go into it, and this is what we did. It's like, well, here's what everyone else is doing. Everyone else is selling specific cuts, and so we're going to sell specific cuts of beef. And all of a sudden, it's like, wow, we have an inventory problem. Everyone seems to want just this flank steak. I don't even know what flank steak is, but everybody wants it, and I only get 2 per cow. Like, and how do you manage? You get it from the butcher in these little baskets, and you throw it in a freezer, and then you got to go through and figure out how many packages of what I have. Like, inventory control got to be ridiculous. So we completely scrapped that, and it's like, what did the companies that are very successful, what are they doing? And you start to look at that, and then you can model it to be like, okay, here's what's working for this organization. How can I start to model that? And you look at it, it's like, once you have that dream customer, you start to build this out, and it's called a value ladder. You start to build out this value ladder of what's kind of gonna get them in the door with me. How can I first make contact with them? What's going to be something that they just can't say no to? So you get that in front of them, and then what's the next thing? What would be something that they would actually want to, commit to, pull their credit card out, make a purchase from? And then from there, it just kind of keeps going up. And then it's like, what's the highest valued thing that I could offer to them? Could be a wedding on our property. Like, we could be a venue. We could, have a personal chef come to their house every month. Like, there's so many different things that you could do that could increase the value for your products on a level that they would never expect. So getting those things out of your head and onto paper, and getting that solid foundation to move forward with will open up so many doors for you. Because if you're like we were, 3 months in, trying to look back and be like, okay, so got all these new customers. What do I offer to them next? Like, you can't catch up. So it's just like, you don't, if you don't have that already set up and the plan of how are we going to do this, then you're you're starting a little bit on the wrong foot, I guess. And that's one of the main reasons why I wanted to start this community, was to help folks avoid the mistakes that we had, on a grand scale. So yeah, excited. I hope that this session was value to you. And if you're watching this as a recording, if you have any questions, comments, please either put them in the comments section here on Facebook or on YouTube, and send us an email, nathan@farmfreshmarketers.com. And yeah, Jake, I wanted to make sure, did you have any other questions for me?
No, not right now. Actually, that was really good. I got a lot out of that. So thank you very much.
Sweet, absolutely. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you. I'll definitely be tuning in for the next one.
Fantastic. All right. Have a great day.
Hey, thanks. You too, Nathan.
Okay. Cheers.
Yep, we'll see ya.